Most small businesses are bidding blind. They find a contract with the right keyword, skim the scope, and then they start writing a proposal. And I get it. That feels productive, but what you're doing is you're actually taking action. You're submitting the bids, you're getting your company in the game. But the problem is a keyword match is not a strategy. Just because a contract includes the service you provide doesn't mean it's the right opportunity for your company. And it definitely doesn't mean you're positioned to win it. See, the contractors who win consistently are usually asking better questions before they ever bid. They're asking questions like, who's the incumbent? Who has the agency already trusted with this work? How does this buyer actually buy? What contract vehicle do they use? What has the agency paid before? And are there option periods? Other questions like, are there task orders or is this a recompete? Is the incumbent protected or is there a real opening here? Or am I about to spend a whole bunch of time, energy, and proposal dollars chasing a contract that I was never positioned to win? That's what I call incumbent intelligence. You're going to discover 3 mistakes businesses make when they bid blind and how incumbent intelligence helps you bid smarter before you waste time on the wrong opportunity. And if you want help thinking through this before you bid, I created something called the Incumbent Intelligence Report. So you can grab it down below in the description. Now, before we get into the 3 mistakes, I want to make sure you understand this one thing very clearly. The goal is not to find every contract that you could possibly bid on. That will take too much time, and you're trying to move fast. So that's where so many businesses get it wrong and they feel overwhelmed. They go on to sam.gov or USA Spending, state portals, local portals, school district portals, and they start searching keywords like landscaping or cybersecurity or IT, consulting, staffing, marketing, training, or construction, whatever you sell. And then every time they see a matching word, they think we should be going after this, right? But that's not a strategy. That's just activity. And activity is not always a signal. And activity can make you feel like you're moving forward when you're just really spreading yourself really thin and feeling overwhelmed. The goal isn't to bid more, the goal is to bid smarter. Bidding smarter starts with understanding the buyer ecosystem before you ever submit a proposal. That means understanding the incumbent, the buyer, the contract history, that acquisition process, and the path ahead to the competitive landscape and your actual positioning in the market. That's what incumbent intelligence helps you do. So let's talk about the 3 mistakes business owners make when they don't have it. The first mistake businesses make when they're bidding blind is chasing keyword matches instead of winnable opportunities. They see a contract that includes what they do and they immediately think, this is for us. I must bid on it. But just because you can do the work doesn't mean you're positioned to win the work. The first mistake business owners make when they're bidding blind is chasing keyword matches instead of winnable opportunities. They see a contract that includes what they do and they immediately think this is for us. But just because you can do the work doesn't mean you're positioned to win the work. But that doesn't automatically mean that the opportunity fits the company's real capacity or their past performance or their geography, their contract size, their delivery model, their contract vehicle, the buyer relationship, or the small business eligibility. This is why so many businesses waste time pursuing contracts that technically match what they do, but they strategically don't fit where they can win. They're asking the wrong question. They're asking, can we do this work? Well, sure. But the better question is, are you positioned to win this work? That's a completely different level of thinking and a pro strategy. Sometimes the answer is yes, and you should prime. Sometimes the answer is no, and you should pursue as a subcontractor. Sometimes the answer is you should team with someone who already has that relationship, the vehicle, or the past performance. And that makes sense too. And sometimes the answer is you should leave the opportunity alone and focus on something else somewhere else. That's not failure, that's a strategy. That is using leverage the right way. When you understand the incumbent and the comparable contracts around that opportunity, you can start to see whether the work actually fits your company or it doesn't. And you can compare scope, you can compare geography, you can compare buyer, and you can compare contract size. See, you can start to compare all these things like delivery model and small business eligibility, and that gives you a leg up and an opportunity to build some clarity and confidence. Whether that opportunity is better suited for you, this is going to help you know how to position to win. That's the difference between chasing everything and choosing strategically. And this is one of the first things the Incumbent Intelligence Report is designed to help you evaluate. It helps you stop chasing every opportunity that contains a keyword and really start identifying where your company has a real strategic opening. Because the goal isn't to find more bids, the goal is to know where you can actually win, right? Okay, so once you know whether the opportunity is an actual fit, the question is, how does this buyer actually buy? That brings us to mistake number two. They guess how the buyer buys. The second mistake businesses make when they're bidding blind is guessing how their buyers buy. This is one of the biggest reasons businesses show up late to opportunities. They wait until the solicitation drops and then they start trying to figure out everything at the same time. Who is the buyer? What's the office that's handling it? What the vehicle is that they're using? Who won last time? How long has the incumbent been there? And are there options and years? Was the contract extended? And by the time of the solicitation is public, you're often already late because the agency has already been thinking about the requirement for months, if not years ahead. The end user has already experienced a problem. The procurement office may already have a path in mind, and the incumbent may have already understood the work. You see, competitors may already have relationships, and you're just now trying to catch up because you're bidding blind. Incumbent intelligence helps you stop guessing and it helps you look at how the agency has already purchased simpler work. You can look at the current or past incumbent activity. You can look at the contract value, the award amount, the task order history. And this gives you clarity in addition to modification history and option periods, which is so important when you're bidding. You'll also get the procurement office and publicly available pricing. When you put those pieces together, you start to see the buyer's buying pattern. That matters because every agency doesn't buy the same way. Every contract type doesn't move the same way. And if you don't understand the path the buyer has already used, you may build a strategy around how you hope they buy instead of how they actually buy. And that is dangerous. If the agency tends to use certain vehicles and you're not on those vehicles, that matters too. If the agency tends to extend the incumbent, that matters as well. If the procurement office repeatedly works with the same group of businesses, that matters and that is a signal. That's a data point that you need to be aware of. If the recompete window is coming up, that matters as well. If the contract was just extended, that matters too. You see, all of these things matter. If you wait until the solicitation drops to learn how the buyer buys, you're learning the game after it already started. And that's not where you want to be. The Incumbent Intelligence Report helps you stop guessing how the buyer buys so that you can build a capture plan around the actual acquisition path instead of discovering it after the solicitation drops. Because once you understand how the buyer buys, you can stop reacting and start positioning. It's not enough to know how the buyer buys. You also need to understand the incumbent because the incumbent is not just a company name in a database. The incumbent gives you clues, and ignoring those clues is mistake number three. Most businesses look at the incumbent and only ask one question: who won last time? Well, that's a start, but it's not enough. The better question is, what does the incumbent's history tell me about the company? Because the incumbent may tell you whether the agency is satisfied or not. The incumbent may tell you whether the agency values continuity or not. The incumbent may tell you whether pricing has been compressed or not. And sometimes the incumbent may tell you to stay away. And that's important because the point of incumbent intelligence is not to find dirt on the incumbent. It's not about being negative, it's about making a strategic decision. Do you compete against them? Do you team with them? Do you target the follow on? Do you look for subcontracting angles? Do you use the information to educate the buyer? These are all questions you want to ask because they're strategy decisions, and you can't make them if all you know is the title of the solicitation. When you study the incumbent, you're looking for signals. You're looking for repeat awards. You're looking for extensions. You're looking for modification history. You're looking for contract utilization. You're looking for protests. You're looking for adverse actions. All of those things can give you insight into the incumbent's leverage. Sometimes the leverage is strong and sometimes the leverage is weak. Maybe the agency has extended them multiple times, or maybe they extended the scope or expanded the scope. Maybe the contract has been modified upward. Maybe the incumbent has deep institutional knowledge. That doesn't mean you can't win, but it does mean you need a smarter strategy than we can do it too. Other times, the incumbent may look vulnerable. Maybe there were performance issues, or maybe there were protests. See any of that if you're only looking at solicitations. It helps you decide on what to move on next. Not every opportunity should be pursued the same way. Sometimes you compete, sometimes you team, sometimes you subcontract. And sometimes you just need to walk away. And walking away from the wrong opportunity can be just as profitable as winning the right one because it protects your time, your resources, your margins, and your focus. It helps you find the incumbent's leverage points so that you can decide whether to compete, team, target the follow on, or avoid a protected account altogether. Because incumbent intelligence doesn't just tell you who won last time, it helps you decide what move to make next. So if you're bidding on federal or SLED contracts, don't start with the question, what opportunities match what we do? Start with better questions. Number one, can we actually win this? Not can we do the work? Can we win the work? Number two is how does the buyer actually buy? What does the contract history tell us about the acquisition path? And number three, where does the incumbent have leverage? Are they protected? Are they vulnerable? Are they a potential teammate? Or are they warning sign? Are they showing us where the next opening may be? Those three questions can completely change the way you approach government contracting because you stop bidding blind. You stop chasing every keyword. You stop reacting to solicitations after they drop. You start making strategic capture decisions based on real market intelligence. So if you want help doing this before you bid, I created the Incumbent Intelligence Report. You can grab it by clicking the link in the description. This report is designed to help you look at the incumbent, the buyer acquisition path, and the competitive landscape so that you can make smarter decisions before you spend time and money on a proposal. It helps you answer three questions. Where can we actually win? How does this buyer actually buy? And where are the incumbent's leverage points? So if you're tired of bidding blind, chasing keyword matches, and trying to figure out your strategy after the solicitation drops, grab the Incumbent Intelligence Report in the description. Use it before your next bid. Use it for your next capture plan. Use it before your next agency conversation. Because the smartest contractors are not just bidding, they're studying the market, understanding the buyer, and positioning before everyone else shows up. That's how you do less. That's how you make more. That's how you become easier for your preferred agency to choose you.